My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Geminis. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot. And for this week, I'm going to be doing your general reading, your past, present, future 9 card spread. But I actually want to introduce you guys to this upcoming tarot I'm going to be, using probably either Friday or Saturday, and it's the Macabre Tarot. If you even get a chance to watch, my previous performance of the Danse Macabre, it's pretty much still, I think, still available online. But anyway, and that deck is going to be specifically focused on how you can overcome your fears and different ways of processing and stuff like that as well. But anyway, for your general reading, I'm going to be using the regular tarot deck, clarify with the vampire deck, draw a special vampire card, draw a vampire oracle, and finish off with 3 yes or no answers for thee. So let's get started with your reading. Okay. The general card is the 6 of Pentacles reversed. So, let's look at the first row of the path. So you start off with, 8 of Pentacles. Wonderful. Devil reversed. Capricorn energy. Okay. And then the Ace of Wands reversed. Okay. You know what I'm kind of getting here? Is you worked incredibly hard to release yourself from the devil and stuff like that, but yet it will somehow... the price that one pays from releasing yourself from any kind of negative incident, whether it's even like maybe a negative habit or something, is suddenly you feel like you just don't have like the time and energy to want to pursue any further in other ways. But this is also kind of like either, kind of coming to terms with something. It's also an act of healing. It's kind of recovery and stuff like that. Because the devil is indeed a very strong and powerful, very sneaky deity. Because on the negative side, a lot of humans know, the negative parts of the devil. But on the positive negative, the silver lining, it's kind of what you lust, you crave for, a bit of eroticism, forbidden fruit. It's kind of, your darkest and desires and stuff like that. But yet somehow, I do love the fact that you worked incredibly hard to release yourself. And this is kind of like you finally, this is kind of like taking a breather, having to take a bit of a break, because the thing is, releasing yourself from such a heavy, whatever it was, in other ways, it's like, some humans are able to kind of just, continue walking or running and stuff like that, whereas other people need a bit of extra time to recover, right, and heal. So, but I just love the fact how you managed to escape the devil. Because here comes your inspiration of wanting to put time and effort into something. Ace of Swords, one of your beautiful cards. Knight of Pentacles, and then 3 of Cups afterwards. Aha. So here you are pretty much having this major turnaround. So congratulations on whatever this may be. Because the thing is if you're able to release yourself from any kind of like negativity, whether it's like negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative habits, negativity, and now you're opening up more space, room, and time and energy on wanting to pursue something by putting official energy and, or at least, time and effort into, this current times for your matter. And here you are pretty much just kind of also maybe patiently waiting, let's say that you left a real negative, a toxic work environment or whatever it is. Here you are incredibly motivated. Here you're waiting for your paycheck or salary in other ways. And here you're finally celebrating something fabulous. Wow. And you should be beyond, as I am so incredibly proud of you for actually achieving, at least up until, the current times. We still have the future and clarification. But here, it's a wonderful, beautiful moment to actually be embracing, acknowledging and saying, wow, I finally did it. Even, divorce, having gone through a real heavy divorce and stuff like that also takes so much energy. And here you are finally also acknowledging, whatever, you actually broke free from. Now that's what I love to see. But this could also be, your a lack of confidence and lack of faith as well that you finally broke free from as well. Because in the future, you get 2 of Swords, you know exactly which direction you're heading off towards. World Upright, fixed card of Leo, Aquarius, your brother, sister, air sign, Scorpio, and Taurus, and then suddenly you get hit with a bit of this nightmare afterwards. Well, the thing is, it's usually, whenever I draw the future cards, it's not going to be a guarantee, even if you got like the Wheel of Fortune in the future, or even the 6 of Wands, or what have you. it's not a guarantee it's going to happen. It's usually what you crave and desire or what you're worried about in the future as well. Because the thing is, it's a common feeling, you finally release yourself from any kind of negativity for that matter, and then you're finally living a beautiful life, but then you're just still on your guard, regarding, the whole, negative, event that took place, and you pretty much still think, yeah, but when is the next event going to be taking place? And that is what's kind of putting you in a sense of uncertainty in the future. Yes, you know exactly which way you're heading off towards, but you're also worried if the past is going to be repeating itself. So we're going to have to clarify this to verify it all, of course. Because for 8 of Pentacles, you get the Empress. Wonderful Virgo energy. So, it's like you worked incredibly hard for this new beginning, and I just think that this is a wonderful, beautiful combination. Hard work pays off, new beginnings, fertility, abundance, what have you, in other ways on so many levels, and this is what you were mostly heading off towards, and I'm just beyond impressed. Because hard work should and always will be paid off, either way. Because the Devil reversed, you get the King, or the Lord of Scepters, also known as the King of Wands, Leo energy. So you have, by releasing yourself or overcoming any kind of like negative setback or anything, it just enhances and amplifies your confidence, because you pretty much just think, I did it. I defeated the devil. I overcame this, this, worry, this, negativity, this real, toxic, bad habit of whatever it is. And that mostly opened up your confidence, your strength, everything, you pretty much just think, wow, I just did it, fabulous. This is what I love to see. Is when you are able to defeat the devil, well, then the result is that you have this real sense of confidence within yourself. Or it could be that, you already had enough confidence and strength to release yourself from the whole devil situation. Wonderful. Because even though you might not have the the motivation or inspiration about wanting to put time and energy into something, you do get the Hierophant. So somehow you are committed towards, your goals, your ambitions, your, what have yous in other ways and stuff like that. Because the thing is, it's like having a metaphorical spring cleaning. If you're able to kind of, release any sense of negativity, it's like, throwing away, old shoes or clothes, that don't fit, are torn, what have you, so you can actually buy new and shinier and better products and stuff like that. I mean, I just think this is a fabulous reading so far. So we're going to have to continue. Because for Ace of Swords, you get the Daughter of Knives, also known as the Page of Swords. So this is where you're now welcoming in new opportunities. You're pretty much just kind of, organizing everything. You're actually straightening everything. You're just, dusting everything. You're just cleaning everything. You're just having this real big sense of, just throwing away what's not working for you, because this is a wonderful grand opening of actually having this outgoingness, this adventurous kind of card, and knowing that Sagittarius, even though it is your opposite sign, you could always still have Sagittarius, but Sagittariuses are mostly based off of adventure. So if you even have that sense of adventure within yourself to say, I want to go out, I want to start seeing new things, new ideas, I want to travel, what have you, meet new people, experience new things. This is now the time to actually be heading out and doing so, because this is also kind of like being committed and devoted towards yourself in the form of healing. So now you pretty much have the time and energy on wanting to actually start pursuing your goals. Because here, with the Knight of Pentacles, having patience or waiting, for this pentacle to arrive, well, you're also just taking action yourself and thinking, okay, instead of just, patiently waiting, I'm just going to start taking action. I'm going to head out into this world. I'm going to start pursuing something. I'm going to start looking at maybe new job prospects, maybe new, areas, new venues and stuff like that. So I just feel like that, this is a wonderful, beautiful reading. It's pretty much about taking action into your own hands and thinking, what, instead of just being a sitting duck and doing nothing, I'm just going to actually maybe meet the Knight of Pentacles halfway, or maybe while the Knight of Pentacles is heading towards me, I'm just going to quickly, take care of my own need of wanting to get out with the Daughter of Swords, or the Page of Swords. Because with the Three of Cups, here you are finally acknowledging this very beautiful celebratory occasion. Well, you get the Ten of Wands. So here is where, you're pretty much acknowledging hard work taking place, because maybe you are actually relocating to a different city, state, or country, or it's not really about traveling per se, unless the Page of Swords is all about that, because next to the Page of Wands, Page of Pentacles, Cups, and Swords, they're all like journeys kind of card, and it's like that you're just pretty much just heading out towards whatever direction is going to be guiding you and leading you towards, and many ways. But here you're acknowledging and pretty much just celebrating hard work, but yet somehow you do feel a little bit burdened, because with the Two of Swords in the future, you get the second Ace of Swords. So you know exactly which direction, you're going to be heading down towards. I mean, the thing is it looks like that you're going to be maybe faced with some hard work, or maybe you have to actually overcome, some kind of, setbacks, or maybe some, past incidences. But I feel like there's definitely this new beginning on the rise for you, and now you're finally, you know exactly which direction you're heading off towards, and you're finally putting time and effort and energy into it. I mean, it's not quite like the Ace of Wands reversed in the past, or Ace of Wands on a general note, but I love how you pretty much just have this need and desire to want to, just keep moving, because even if you get a chance to watch one of my previous videos about the history of Elizabeth Bathory and blood, as long as blood flows through the human body, it means that the human body is functioning. If it's not, there usually means that there's, some kind of, glitch of some kind, right? But anyway, in the world, you get Three of Cups again. So I see that you're going to be acknowledged in this world. I feel like that you're just heading out. You pretty much had to overcome so much. But of course, whatever worth having doesn't come easy. So even if for the first Three of Cups, you do feel like you're burdened somehow, I do see you heading out into this world still celebrating, because the fact is that this is also kind of like a gratitude kind of reading. It's kind of a silver lining gratitude, where you pretty much just think, well, it's not exactly what I want, wish, and dream of, but I love the fact that I actually am, being presented with this opportunity of getting out into this world. Because here you are with, Nine of Swords, worried about the future, because you get the Ace of Pentacles. Now, what I kind of sense here is that you're worried about this upcoming new job. And that's kind of, a sort of a common feeling, if you're about to head out towards any kind of new career and stuff like that, new offering, it could cause anybody to feel a sense of uncertainty, because you just don't know what to expect. Because I just will mostly think that a lot of humans, they pretty much, it's usually, your own feelings, your own perceptions, your own thoughts that actually scare people the most, rather than the real moment when the time, comes and stuff like that. Let's say, oh goodness, it's like, what if, this job that I'm heading down towards, because, it's like, what if, because what, my future rows are mostly about is how, it's like, it's what you crave and desire, stuff like that. You probably crave wanting to put time and effort and energy into something, but it's also what you worry about in the future as well, because maybe you're also worried that, with any kind of new offerings taking place in the future, it's just going to be one big, repeat, in the sense of it's going to be a negative event, that could be taking place, right? So that's why you could potentially, will be worried about it, especially how you are working incredibly hard, but yet, you still feel, the sense of that something is going to, be repeating from the past. Because your special vampire card says Seven of Pentacles, and this is like the job offering, and the Seven of Pentacles is all about hesitancy. You pretty much just think, oh goodness, it's like, I just don't know if I want to actually, take that one final step, over the threshold of heading out into this world and stuff like that. Because, if there's any kind of, like, well, maybe, anything, that's kind of causing maybe still irrational fear. This is just only a general concept, so it's not directed at any, person in particular, but it's usually our own perceptions and thoughts that actually scare us more than a sense of reality. Now, unless you already got a sense of reality based off of the Ten of Wands, that you already realize you got a taste of this career, and it's something you really just don't want to pursue, well, then I would really rethink that, rather than just being, pushed into a sense of hesitancy in other ways. Because Oracle says transgression, flaws, contradictions, and mistakes. Now, if you're worried about, any kind of contradictions or mistakes, the thing is this is pretty much just based off of experience. You're gaining so much knowledge, you're gaining so much experience and stuff like that. So even, the negative event of releasing yourself from the, devil, maybe you just think, oh goodness, I just, made so many mistakes in the past. I just feel like I'm just, suffering with contradictions constantly. And I just feel like that there's this flaws. Well, the thing is there's no such thing as anything perfect. You try your best, of course, to to be perfect, or, to make, the whole situation more positive and happier and stuff like that. But the point is, there will be moments where, there's going to be contradictions. There's going to be, humans that probably have different ideas, thoughts, perceptions, and there's always going to be moments where you just pretty much just feel like I've just made nothing but mistakes. Forgive yourself 100% on any kind of mistake that you may have made, especially when it comes to any kind of devil situation, because the thing is the devil is a very sneaky deity. It's your own personal thoughts, your own perceptions. It could be an individual, it could be in a situation, what have you, in other ways, but it's pretty much something that you have to forgive yourself on so many levels. Wow. Okay, well, I'm going to finish up with 3 yes or no answers. Please feel free to pause this video and think about the questions you want answered. For number 1, you get a no with the 4 of Cups upright. Actually, for the second 7 of Pentacles, you do get a yes. And for number 3, you get a no with the 10 of Swords upright. So you do get 1 yes and 2 no's in today's reading. My beautiful Geminis, I'm going to have to leave it at this, or even Gemini placements. But if this reading resonated for Gemini placements out in this world, please feel free to join and subscribe to my channel for more vampire knowledge, tarot, and even, just please feel free to stay tuned for the upcoming Macabre Tarot. And this is pretty much going to be focused on how we can all overcome our fears with a guide from this, because there are 2 different types of readings I'm going to be introducing you guys to, maybe Friday or Saturday of this week. And then pretty soon I'm going to be adding all the 12 zodiac signs. So this is pretty much also a very good time to, even if we are in the darker times of the year, to also kind of, come to terms and face our own fears in other ways. And that's what the Macabre Tarot is going to be guiding us, towards in other ways. So please feel free to stay tuned for that. In a few days, I'm going back to general love readings, so please feel free to stay tuned if you want some knowledge or information for love in other ways. Next week, I will actually maybe try the Macabre Tarot, so please feel free to stay tuned for that. Other than that, I want to thank you all so very much for joining me. I love you guys incredibly. I want to wish you all the best of luck on where this journey may take you. But as per usual, take excellent good care of yourselves.